Hello everyone, this is Kyle Galaz with Poor2Pro Car Sales Training Podcast. Become a sales titan. We are in Season 5, Episode 1. We're going to be talking about the characteristics of sales titans that are selling 15, 20, 25 plus cars a month and making $100, $200 plus $1,000 a year. That is what you want to be, correct? That is what you want out of your career, right? This is what we're going to be talking about to make you that sales titan and take you to the next level. I want to say a big shout out to all the one-on-one training sessions I did for Season 4. Had a blast doing that. It was awesome meeting people across the entire world. Australia, Canada, USA. It was pretty amazing doing these one-on-one sessions. Season 4 was a blast. And there was quite a few one-on-one sessions that I didn't even post in Season 4. And if you want to do a one-on-one training session with me, Kyle Galaz, and Poor2Pro, get a hold of me through Messenger on Facebook or DM me on Instagram. Get a hold of me somehow, some way. You think of 3 or 4 topics that you want to elevate. The pricing is super inexpensive. The return of investment is incredible. So reach out to me and we'll put a game plan together. We're talking about Season 5, Episode 1. We're going to be talking about how to be fearless as a car salesman and also talk about breaking through those limiting boundaries. Fear is a very, very powerful feeling. Fear is a very powerful emotion. It can either hinder you or propel you to greatness. It's how you perceive it, how you accept that feeling inside of you when you do have that fear. You can go one or two ways. You can let fear cripple you and put you back into your comfort zone, or you can address it and say, hey, these are the things that I'm scared of in the car business. These are the customers that I'm fearful of. These are the scenarios that I'm fearful of. And really think about it. Okay, next time I come across this, I'm going to blast through it. Fear can be a wall that has success on the other side. When you start detecting fear, know that success is on the other side of this. I need to hit this head on, and I need to go full blast and break through that wall and reach for success, because fear will keep you in that comfort zone. Wherever you're at right now, fear will love to keep you there. Fear loves the comfort zone, and it tells you, it coddles you, hey, stay here, it's real comfortable, and you're making decent money. I mean, 60, 80 grand a year is not bad. No, how about you blast through those fears, detect those scenarios and situations that you're fearful of, and blast through them, because I promise you, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 is sitting on the other side of those fears, on the other side of that wall, and that's what this episode is about. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The biggest fear for salespeople is rejection. We can't stand it when we get rejected. And who really would, right? Especially when your income is on the line. Your livelihood is on the line. No one likes to get told no. But I promise you something. The more times you get told no, the more yeses you're going to actually get. Because you're pushing the boundaries and trying to find and flush out objections from customers. So when you have a customer say no, know in your brain that you're actually closer to the yes. And the more no's I can get out of this guy, the more pinpoint accuracy I can find to get that yes. A customer can only say no a certain amount of times. They can't just say no, 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 because they got to want something, and they have to have some sort of a buying button. And the more no's and objections you can flush out, the more yeses you're going to actually get. The fear of rejection holds us back. Making that call, that cold call, calling that sold customer back that you haven't talked to in a few years, asking for referrals, asking for a repeat buy, right? These are all the things that they could say no and they could shoot us down. But I promise you, you're going to get a big fat no unless you ask. At least if you ask for the sale or ask for the referral or ask for something out of that customer, you have a shot of getting a yes. And if you've asked enough questions properly, then you'll know what questions to start asking to close them. So fear of rejection is very, very powerful. Salespeople don't like it. It hurts, actually. It hurts when we get told no repeatedly. The essential part to realize is that rejection is part of sales. It helps to view each no as a step closer to the inevitable yes. Another fear that salespeople have is a fear of being too pushy. They're scared of blowing the customer out of the showroom. But if you take a look at your dealership and take a look at all the salespeople and all the sales and all the managers, how many customers actually blew out of the showroom? It's pretty rare. In my 21 years, have I blown people out of the showroom? Absolutely. But have I learned from it? Absolutely. I have learned to be a certain amount of pushy to get answers, a certain amount of pushy to get the sale. Because I promise you, if you're not pushy or not aggressive enough and they leave, they're going to run into a salesperson that will go just a little bit farther than you will out of their comfort zone and be a little bit pushy, a little bit energetic, a little bit more convincing, and they will get the sale. I promise you, if you start getting a too pushy, you'll know. You want to know how you'll know? Because a customer will blow out of your showroom. So then you can start learning, okay, I can go up to this level before a customer blows out. Okay, I figured it out. I know that I cannot be too pushy, and I found the boundaries of being just enough pushy. If you leave it up to a customer to decide, they never will. Thanks, we're going to go look around. They're going to go look around to find a salesman that pushes their limits and makes them say yes, or is convincing enough to get them to say yes. Don't worry about being too pushy. It is a fear that salespeople have. I don't want to push that hard. I don't want to blow a customer out. Well, I promise you, if you learn to be a little bit pushy, a little bit aggressive, a little bit more convincing, you're going to start seeing more sales. And yes, you're going to have that one customer that gets offended, but guess what? They probably weren't buying anyway. You just got to the point quicker of them blowing out of there, right? Instead of doing the whole long drawn out 3-day thing and then they ghost you. At least you got the answers now. So a second fear that people have, salespeople have, is being too pushy. I promise you, you're not going to be too pushy. Push your comfort zones though. Be pushy on your comfort zones and try to say things that you've never said before, because you're going to start getting different and new results. And the new results are going to be more sales. I promise you, if you're more convincing, a little bit more pushy, a little bit more energetic and compelling, you're going to sell more cars. Another fear some people have, not all, but some salespeople have, is fear of competition. Whatever happened to those days when you had salespeople battling month after month, year after year, trying to be number one? How come dealerships now have 1 or 2 guys that lead and the rest are just hopeful? They just hope. The guys that are continually trying to be number one seem to always be in that top 5. Sometimes they're always number one. You might have a salesperson at your store that seems to always be number one, and it's a rarity that he's number 2, 3, or 4. The guy's never number 6, 7, or 8. Whatever happened to that competition? Remember that competition feeling you had back in grade school on the soccer field or the football or the basketball or the monkey bars? Remember you wanted to be the best at something? Life happens, of course, but we get it beaten out of us. We lose that competition in us, so get it back. Don't be fearful to tell the guy that's always number one, I'm coming for you this month. Whether you beat him or not, I promise you, you will rise to the occasion and you might start making more money than you've ever made simply because you want to get competitive again. I promise you, iron sharpens iron. And if you get competitive, that guy that's number one is going to have to work that much harder to fend you off. Why can't there be a new sheriff in town? Why can't you come in on the first of the month and say, this is my month, watch me? Get back to that competition. Stop being fearful of competition. And don't just settle for where you're at. Oh, I'm good. I'm always like number 4, number 5 in the store. No, how about you tell yourself, why can't I be number one? I want to go into the store and be number one this month, and I'm going to do it. Every once in a while, a salesperson has to shine. So if you're always that number 5, 6, 7, 8 spot, or even last spot, give yourself the opportunity to shine. Give yourself the opportunity to get Salesman of the Month. Whatever happened to that competition in us? Go out there and fight every single day to be number one. I promise you, the more times you tell yourself you're going to be number one this month, the more times you think it, it's going to start happening. It's inevitable because you're going to wake up that lion inside of you that wants to be number one. So maybe tomorrow when you go into the dealership, or today if you're on your way right now, tell yourself, why can't I be number one? And you know what? If you are number one, you tell yourself, I'll never be beaten. There is no one going to stop me. I will be the number one salesperson until I quit this place. And if you're not number one, fight for number one. Get back to that competitive spirit like you had back in the day. Go back to fighting. Don't let the society beat it out of you. Go back and be number one in your mind, your heart, your soul, and then you'll start seeing it on your numbers and your income and your sales. A crucial part of being fearless is breaking boundaries. The first boundary to break is our comfort zone. The comfort zone is great. It feels nice, warm, and fuzzy, but nothing grows there. The only time you grow as a salesperson is when you get out of the comfort zone, because the comfort zone is going to sell you what you're selling right now. This is where you feel comfortable. This is where you feel at home. This is where you don't sweat. This is where you don't bleed. This is where you don't cry. This is the area that's, hey, I'm doing pretty good. If you want to go to the very, very top and start making gigantic amounts of money, you have to get out of your comfort zone. And you got to find things that actually push your limits. Find things that actually get you out of your comfort zone. When was the last time you walked in your service drive and tried to get a customer to buy a car from the service drive? That's a comfort zone that no one wants to leave. Salespeople don't like working the service drive because it's awkward. The reason why it's awkward is because you don't do it enough. Salespeople also don't like cold calls. Do you want to know why? Because it's out of the comfort zone. Salespeople don't like calling sold customers. Do you want to know why? Because it's out of their comfort zone. There's a lot of things that are out of your comfort zone where the fruits grow. So you have to get out of that comfort zone. You have to realize, no, it's not that you don't want to do it. It's that you're scared to get out of that comfort zone. No, I don't like doing that. Change that word and really be honest with yourself. I don't like working the service drive. No, it's I fear working the service drive. I don't like making cold calls. No, it's I fear making cold calls. These are the things that have success on the other side, but you have to get good with it. So yes, the first time you go to the service drive and try to sell a car or try to convince someone to come up and look at vehicles, you're going to suck at it. The first time you make cold calls to people in a phone book to draw business, you're going to suck at it because you got to get good at it. And the only way you get good at it is trying over and over and over again. One failure doesn't mean anything. Now, if you keep trying, the only thing that's going to come out of it is you getting better. Practice makes perfect. So get out of that comfort zone and stop telling yourself, I don't like working the service drive. Start telling yourself, I got to get over the fear of working the service drive. Getting out of your comfort zone breaks through the fear of those boundaries. Get on the other side of those boundaries and you're going to start making more money. The comfort zone is not where things grow. Now that we're talking about breaking boundaries, let's talk about breaking the boundary of just selling a car. You are selling more than just a car. You are selling yourself. You are selling the dealership. You are selling the experience, and you're selling the future of that customer with your vehicle. Sell more than the car because that's how you gain those customers over the competition. There are customers that will shop multiple dealerships, and when they find that salesperson that can sell more than just the car, they can sell the experience themselves, the dealership, the future of owning the vehicle. Those are the salespeople that are going to get the sale from that customer. So we have to break more than just the boundary of our comfort zones. Now we got to break the boundary of just selling a car. You need to sell more than just the car. Now let's discuss how to transform these fears and boundaries into actionable strategies. To overcome rejection, adopt the mindset to help you view each no as not defeat, but as feedback, okay? And get comfortable with rejection. We have to be okay with it and set a no goal. It sounds weird and counterintuitive, but start asking more questions and you'll start getting some no's, and those no's will slowly lead you. It's almost like a connect the dots of no's because you're going to end up finding the yes in there. If you're not asking questions, you're not pushing the car sale, and you're not the steps of the sale, then you're not going to ever get a yes. And the only way to get those yeses is by hearing some no's here and there and finding why they're saying no and turning that into a yes. Instead of worrying about being pushy, also work on being more persuasive. Effective communication, empathy, problem-solving skills. These are the things that you need to win over customers. So don't worry about being pushy. Start trying to be and focus on being persuasive. And when it comes to the competition part, use it as motivation. Learn from the guys at your work, at your dealership that are selling the most and they're always number one, and go after them. See their achievements as something that you can learn from, not their achievements as, oh, I'm failing. Think of it as, okay, this is something I can work on. You got to break boundaries and you got to keep trying new things to get better. That's why the one-on-ones that people hire me are so effective, is because I get to tell them things that maybe their sales managers aren't telling them, or put together a game plan that pushes their comfort zones. The salespeople that are getting the most out of the one-on-ones I've done are the ones that are trying it and getting awkward and getting no's because they're getting better as salespeople. So what's the takeaway from today's episode? Being fearless isn't throwing caution to the wind, right? It's about taking calculated risk, embracing competition, using rejection as feedback, and believing in your product and yourself. Go back to that competition. Go back to fighting every day to be number one and try new things. Be different than you used to be. You have to be different if you want different results. And bravery, being fearless, isn't a lack of fear. It's the ability to move forward despite fear. Go around it, get over it, and break through the fear. Fear holds people back. Fear puts people in their comfort zones. Fear is what makes people poor. And if you want to go crazy in the income side and go crazy in sales, then get through your fears. Try new things. Get creative. Keep listening to the podcast. I appreciate you guys listening to this episode, talking about fear and breaking boundaries. And before I forget, make sure you guys go to Amazon and pick up my daily workbook, Poor2Pro Daily Workbook. There's also a Titan edition if you want bigger font. Get the workbook and make that book work for you. Put it to the test. Do everything it says every day on those work logs, and I promise you, you guys are going to sell a ton of cars. Make yourself accountable to fill out each page every day, and you're going to become so busy you won't know what to do with the customers. Kyle Galaz signing out.